Disclaimer. I will be giving my totally honest opinion on this game.
If you disagree with my opinion, do not take it as a personal attack against you. If you're a type of person that gets angry at other people's opinions on video games, peanuts, or toilet paper, then you had might explode during the review, leaving your family to clean up the mess.
We all knew this day would come. I loved Dragon Age Origins. I mean, I love the lore, the story, the atmosphere. The only thing I didn't praise the game for was the combat. And when I saw Dragon Age 2, I was like, ooh, this must be a must buy. So I snagged me a copy for free from GameStop, because I used to work there. I know what you're thinking, and I didn't steal it. Employees get to snag one for free. So I brought it home and I didn't necessarily enjoy my time, but my coworker did. So I asked him, why did you like it? He goes to explain like I thought it was alright, blah 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 blah, and I was like, okay, did you play the first one? No, he didn't. Ah, I see. He didn't play the first one, so he didn't know what he was missing. Let's talk about that.
To start, you no longer have a mute main character like the Grey Warden of the first game. In Dragon Age 2, you play as Hawk during the events of Dragon Age Origins. Before in Origins, you passed a town called Lothering before it was literally wiped off the map. Hawk lived in Lothering during the Darkspawn attacks and escaped with his family to a city in the Free Marches called Kirkwall. From there, Hawk rises from a poor refugee to a legendary champion of Kirkwall.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
The story is told in 3 acts from one of your more likable companions, Varric. Varric is being interrogated by Cassandra, a seeker of the Chantry. She believes that understanding Hawk's actions could be the key to preventing war that threatens Thetis. Oh, Thetis is all of this. And just a fun fact, she's actually going to be a companion in Dragon Age Inquisition. So now you know the story's foundations, right? You're comfortable now, you're sitting in your seat, you know, get a little cup of tea going on, a little biscuit here and there. Yeah, alright, now let me tell you things I do not like. This story is not about you, it's about Hawk. Dragon Age 2 is a linear game. Sure, you make choices, but the game's main plot remains the same until the very last quest, where you get to choose one of 2 endings. This is just like Mass Effect 3. Hawk's story spans 10 years, and like I said before, it's split into 3 acts by Varric's flashbacks. Between each act, the story skips 3 years through cutscenes. It's like watching Avatar: The Last Airbender movie all over again, where you feel like you're just missing huge chunks of the story. There are even NPCs that will talk to you like you know them. They'd be like, yo, you remember that time when you did that thing? Yeah, no I don't.
Hawk, long time no see, my friend.
Worthy, when did you get back into town?
Oh, just a month or so ago. Things didn't work out in Orzammar. You aren't still working for Athenril, are you? Your year must be up by now.
My, if it isn't Hawk.
Good to see you again, Elegant.
Lady Elegant, if you don't mind. I'm a married woman now. Last time we met, you were still in Athenril's employ. Things have been going well since then?
I do not care about these characters because I do not know them. No experience in battle, no quests, nothing. The conversations are short, and that's it. They're gone from my mind. Oh, 1 minute later, yep, already forgot. Maybe if the exchanges weren't so short and meaningless and Hawk wasn't so dull, then it wouldn't be as bad. In the first game, you had fleshed out NPCs that definitely made an impression on you with interesting dialogue to choose from. Here in Dragon Age 2, you have Hawk.
Could be better, could be worse.
Not to say his voice actor is bad or anything, but I think it had a lot to do with the writing as well. The writing was so good in the first game, you never even realized that you didn't have a voice. Instead of the natural dialogue you had in the first game, here you have 3 generic ways to answer all the time. Kind-hearted, jokester, or strong and to-the-point tough guy. Sure, sometimes they do change the options, adding a little investigate option off to the side, so learning more of the story is optional now. I don't like it. You may like it, but I don't like it. What happened to the good old dialogue with persuading and intimidating? Why? Did they make this game casual? They did simplify combat, customization, dialogue options. Oh. But that doesn't excuse how unfinished the quests feel. Through the 3 acts, you're going to have quite a few side quests to complete. Some of them will be very interesting, some of them will be boring fetch quests, most of them will be unsatisfying. There'll be quests with an interesting storyline just to be ended so poorly. Sometimes on completion, you won't even get a cutscene.
You dare show your face to me again. If you know you'll leave my city.
Sometimes NPCs won't even be there and you'll just get a letter in the mail. You have a home base in this game where you can craft potions, runes, and poisons and check your mail. You can even receive a quest reward when you're reading your letters. And the game even uses this for main quests, and no, it has nothing to do with reading. It has a lot to do with all the build-up and decision-making you're doing during your quest just to hand it into a piece of furniture. All I'm saying is that it's just a little lazy. Sadly, gone is a lot of things that made Dragon Age Origins one of my favorite RPGs of all time. Gone is the exploring, the deep storyline, the living world of Origins, to small sections of Kirkwall. The only areas to explore is the town areas and the mountain area outside of it. And you need a quest to even go to some of them because there's nothing else to do, so they just simply disappear. Poof! And I'm pretty sure you heard this before, but all these areas that you explore are just reused throughout the entire game. Dungeons, coasts, underground, you name it. All of it's reused even in the main quests. And does it at least have NPCs to talk to spread out through the different locations of the towns? No! It's just filled with empty NPCs that you can't talk to. And if you can talk to them, they're so boring that you might as well be talking to a chair.
How you doing?
But enough of me ranting on how they did the story, let's get into some gameplay! First in, player customization. They had some things taken away. Of course you have the standard, you get to choose between 3 classes, Mage, Warrior, and Rogue. In Dragon Age Origins, you could choose between 3 races, 6 origin stories, and let's not forget, make your party picture sexy. In Dragon Age 2, your only option is human, no origin story, and of course you can't make your party picture as creepy as possible. I'll just settle for putting the camera so close you can only see my eye. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss being an elf and scolding and even killing racist bad guys.
The uppity runt that thinks he's worthy of speaking to me.
So obviously this is a huge downgrade, but let me put down my pitchfork for a second and say, maybe they wanted to tell a set story about being a human that escaped the Darkspawn before Lothering got destroyed. Maybe that's the reason they gave Hawk a voice, or why the game is not open like the first game. They were trying something new, and not all the changes are bad. The combat improved quite a bit. I would even go as far to say that I enjoyed it more than the first game. Yes, the maps that you get forced at gunpoint to fight on are cramped small areas, and gone is the overhead camera! But the combat is freaking satisfying. I don't know about everybody else, but I played a mage. Because, well, I'll just show you. They definitely stepped up their game when it came to the combat. The animations reach BA status, the abilities for the 3 classes are not reused like in the first game, and it just feels better. Like when I was playing a mage, your basic attacks do a nice fast-paced combo. And even when your enemy gets too close, you know, because your tank is not doing a good job, your character automatically switches to melee. In the first game, the combat just feels so What also feels good is watching your HP bar for enemies deplete when you attack them. It makes your attacks feel meaty, like in the Neverwinter MMO. They also did some big changes to the ability tree and attributes. Like I said before, each class has their own ability trees to go down in, and also returning its specializations. Companions even get an additional tree to put points in. You have a clear understanding of what you will get when you're spending your points thanks to the tooltips as well. They really took the game in a different direction entirely. It's more like an action turn-based game than a tactical game Origins was. Like changing the camera to a very low angle when you pause the game. You'll be in a very crap dungeon and you can't really move the camera in such a way to get your guy to move to a certain point on the map. Or that you can't lay down traps anymore, which I never used anyway. But I definitely did like the change where enemies come in waves now. Like, what is that? It just reminds me of playing a Call of Duty campaign shooting gallery where you're just taking up your gun and mowing down enemies. It just makes the quest feel kind of empty, like you're just killing random NPCs that have no purpose in the story. They're just in your way and filler content. Not like in Origins where you actually get to talk to these people. You actually make deals with some of these thugs. Oh, I'll pay you this such and such money to let me go. I'll pay you this. We could do this. We can deal. Most of the time I kill them, but it's nice to have that option. Other than that, I really enjoyed the combat over the previous version. I'm just happy that Dragon Age Inquisition is bringing back that overhead camera view, you know what I'm saying? Still, here is a tactical menu to set commands for your party members to use once certain conditions are met. Also, when it comes down to customizing companions, you can still pick skills, specializations, attributes, but you can no longer change their armor. There are different armors you can unlock, but you can't pimp them out like you used to. This doesn't really bother me too much. It was a headache to make sure all my companions had the best stuff consistently. It was time consuming, used up a ton of your gold, and most importantly, took all your inventory space. You can also unlock rune slots for your companions between Acts 1 through 3, but if you miss it or forget, you can't get the rune slot. This is the same for backpack slots, quests, and even companions. Every time you go from one act to another, like Act 1 to Act 2, you miss your chance to get any of the upgrades. I am not a huge fan of this. For example, Isabella. After you get one of the most annoying characters in the game, Anders, in your party, in Act 1 you have to go to a certain place, make sure you have no active quests, and maybe do a rain dance and do a couple backflips, and then you get to see Isabella. Isabella was actually in Dragon Age Origins. She was a tough pirate that teach your character the duelist specialization. I know, right? She looks totally different now. You know who else looks different? Flemeth. No words. Anyways, if you happen to miss this and move on to another act, you miss your chance. And she's not a small character either. She has some quests. So now companions have set quests every act. These quests replace the conversations you used to have in Origins. And you can't just talk to them anywhere anymore.
Hightown is the best of Kirkwall. Just ask them.
Keep a hand on your coin, Hawk. There are more cut purses in Hightown than in the rest of the city combined.
In Dragon Age 2, you have to visit them at their home to have a conversation with them. And unless it's a big quest, it's meaningless. Not gonna lie, I miss the hours of conversations I used to have with my party members in Origins. Can you imagine playing Mass Effect and not being able to talk to all your characters after a big mission? Yeah. And again, what makes it worse is the way your character talks back with these basic answers.
It's a risk, but if we succeed, it'll be worth it. Is there anything I can do to help? Is there something you would do differently, brother?
Not to mention that this also affects how your approval rating works in the game. Approval rating has been changed to the friendship and rivalry system. Depending on what you land on, your party members will get a passive. This game doesn't have endless gifts that you can just shower your teammates with. You have to take your companions on quests with you and pray they like what you pick. Companions will even hate you for accepting quests. It's like they don't want players to finish all the quests in the game. Bottom line, some characters are just gonna end up hating you no matter what if you don't agree with them. Some characters you can bring back up by helping them with their companion quests. But still, some of them are just meant to hate you for certain decisions that you make. This could be something you love or hate. On the one hand, it's realistic for companions to stand with you or wish you were dead depending on the choices you make. In Origins, you can fix any issue by just giving gifts. In real life, if my wife found out that I used all the money to get video games and over-glorified toys, it would take a little bit more than just gifts to fix that. On the other hand, this is just a game, and I want to play it how I want to play it. And making a decision not to bring your jealous brother along because he doesn't add either strength or conversation doesn't necessarily count as a tough decision. Brother, I wish you died instead of my sister Bethany. Also, in Origins, you can have conversations with them to smooth it out as well, which personally I think it was just better designed. Period. Your party members still do random conversations, but they're just not as enjoyable to hear, especially if you have douchebag Anders in your party.
It will cause more trouble than it prevents.
Well, you've got a brain in there after all. I was convinced that headband was to keep it from falling out.
It was a compliment, you ass.
No, it wasn't. Everyone was kissing everyone.
I have run into some glitches in the game. Maybe it's just unique to my system, but there were a few. Like my very likable brother telling me the same line over and over again no matter where we went.
Head for the door. If the will is so important, let's get it back to Mother. Head for the door. If the will is so important, let's get it back to Mother. Head for the door. If the will is so important, let's get it back to Mother.
The end had a very interesting boss fight, like something straight out of an anime, which I enjoyed, but the journey to get to that point was a little meh. For the people who have played, it feels like they skipped most of the story at those end of the act cutscenes. So when you finally get to the end, you're like, oh, but there was no build up to this. It's a shame because at the end you realize how the events in Kirkwall changed the overarching story of Dragon Age. So this is like a prequel to something bigger. You don't actually play the bigger story, just imagine playing a game about Bill Gates. Before he became rich, you know, you play all the boring college stages, you finally reach the end, and you find out he was gonna create Microsoft. But you don't get to do any of the cool stuff. Just in case you want to remember the college stages, or of course Dragon Age Origins, you can now fill out the Dragon Age Keep Tapestry. This allows you to fill out most of the important choices you made in the previous games to transfer to Dragon Age Inquisition. And once you're done, it gives you a well done cutscene to refresh you on the story and the choices you made. They probably should just remove Dragon Age 2. Now you probably say, oh man, you a hater, Matt. You a hater. Yeah, I'm a full-on hater of Dragon Age 2. I'm sorry. This is not a Dragon Age game. If you liked it, it's fine. That's fine. You're a way better person. But this is not a Dragon Age game. The story, the meat and potatoes of Dragon Age Origins, it's not there. Remember those non-generic solutions to complete a quest? Gone. For example, on a quest to save a mage from slavery, the captain, which is the one who captured the mage, there is no dialogue between them. No dialogue. You go inside the house and guess what? A scripted event happens. That's it. Done. Quest over. You are literally killing his men and he has nothing to say to you. Okay, another example? Sure. So you find a dead Grey Warden and you grab his belongings to give to the Grey Wardens. Yeah, I know. Interesting quest, right? I was excited. Guess what? You just find a couple enemies and you drop it into a barrel.
There's the dead drop. Hopefully the Wardens will appreciate this.
That's it. That's it. And what else? You get a letter at home. Yay! Is this a Dragon Age game or a spin-off? I mean, yeah, sure, the graphics are better, right? The teeth looks better. Look at it. Look how clean they are. Even though they're missing a couple of features, the combat is fun. But yeah, but what made Dragon Age Dragon Age? You know, but wait. Is there a hide your helmet option? GG, Game of the Year, 10 out of 10, better than Dragon Age Origins.
For the people who are new to RPGs or haven't played any good ones, probably thought this was okay or enjoyed themselves. But for me, I thought it was pretty painful to play in an inferior game to all of BioWare's titles. When a company makes good games, you kind of have a quality threshold that it has to meet for you to be okay with it not being as good as the sequel. BioWare's Dragon Age 2 is like Platinum Games' The Legend of Korra. Sure, I enjoyed some parts of the game, but compared to the quality of the rest of the games, it doesn't hold up.
Fatality.
The Black Dragon died with Kano. You're the last one, Jarek.
Never!